It's a good morning and thank you so very kindly for joining us. My name is Clayton Moyo and welcome to Asake Online here at the Center for Innovation and Technology. And today the program is Your Rights with Clayton Moyo. Today we're talking children's rights in Zimbabwe, and with me in the studio I have Mandla Zikali from Childline. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you very much for the invite.
All right, let's get on to it. When we're talking of child protection in Zimbabwe, what are we talking about? What are we protecting children from, particularly looking at the organization, at your organization, Childline Zimbabwe?
Well, we're looking at preventing children from being abused, and furthermore, trying to assist those who have been abused to be survivors of abuse. That's what we do, prevent and support those who have been abused.
And what are the range of abuses that you deal with that are prevalent, particularly?
Is cut across. We've got our figures show that if you check child protection issues like sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect, child marriages, those are prevalent. There are too many there. We need to really work hard and prevent this.
And 609,000 thereabout. That's a huge figure.
Yes, it is.
And what could be the reason for such a huge figure?
Well, if you really check the economic situation in the country these days, you find that most of the children spend most of their time at home, while they're supposed to be at school, building their future, and that staying at home, they are prone to abuse. Some of the parents are not living at home; they are busy out there trying to get funds for their children, and they are left exposed. Those are some of the challenges that the country is facing and the children are facing as well.
But I mean, if you are to look at the figure itself, how then, as an organization, do you cope with dealing such a huge number of cases?
Well, the good thing is that we don't work alone. We don't carry the load of this as Childline Zimbabwe alone. We've got various stakeholders out there, like the Department of Social Services, who are our partners in child protection. They really try by all means to cater for these cases alongside with us and other legal stakeholders as well.
And I see child marriage is one of those issues that keeps recurring.
Well, child marriage cases globally, it's not really it's not really a Zimbabwean issue where child marriage is prevalent. We can see that most countries globally, child marriage is a concern. That's why most stakeholders have come on board to say, let's stop child marriages. We're looking at the ages of dating, getting married. That's really bad. We need to focus our strength and resources to cap that child marriage cases.
What have we been doing to try and stop that? I think that is the most important question, that if this thing keeps recurring, keeps happening, what exactly are we doing? And do we stop and say, okay, whatever it is that we are doing, is it effective?
Well, what we've been doing as Childline Zimbabwe is to cascade the information to the community instead. The dangers of child marriage, that's the first thing. And we're working with the government to assist us so that they craft laws that prevent child marriage cases in the country. But you find that most of these child marriage cases, they come from where a community where they don't have much. It's poverty. So they're now forced to take their daughter to marry someone so that they can get something at the end of the day.
And now, are we doing outreach programs? Are they enough? I mean, whatever it is that we do to prevent that, because if it's a family that is involved, then it means changing of mindsets is what is needed here.
It's not enough. Whatever we're doing on the ground is not enough. We need everyone on board to stop child marriages. It can be starting from the family, without even family, community, and everyone involved in stopping child marriages. And I think the drive has to go to economically empowering the less privileged, the most vulnerable. Empower them so that they stop child marriage cases. Because if the family is really in dire need of financial assistance, they need something, then we need to assist them financially. That's giving them projects that can sustain them.
And I also see from your statistics that people who are vulnerable to abuse, mainly 75% of the cases that you dealt with in 2016 is girls and 25% is boys.
Currently, we've got a program running. It's a peer-to-peer support where we try our own ways to target the girls. If you check the peer-to-peer support that we have at Childline as well, it's targeting the girls so that they give them, impact them with information and life skills. These are done. A similar problem, it's easy for them to impact the knowledge to someone else. That's what they're doing, and so it's proven to be giving us good results.
Mm-hmm. We may then move on to the issue of child labor.
Yes.
It's one of the prevalent kinds of abuse that children are subjected to. And most often the question is, where then do we draw the line between doing your cause and your chores and abuse? Where do we draw the line?
Well, let me go to a family setup, right? Mm-hmm. This is a family that's taking children to school. But after school, they're supposed to assist the family. They have to go and attend to what? Attend to the market store where they sell vegetables. We can't term that what? Child labor. Mm-hmm. Because the child is actually what? Assisting the family to get what they need at the end of the day. Child labor will be in a form of where someone is taking the child to work in a mine or in a farm, but the child is not benefiting from what? From the process, but someone else is what? Benefiting from this process.
But then there are children or kids. Money, I mean, how problematic is that?
It is a huge concern for every child protection stakeholder out there that early morning you see children, instead of going to school and better their future, but they are in the streets begging for money or selling those wares or whatever. The street selling, their future is really bleak. Mm-hmm. So we need to empower them so that the family or the adults in the family can do most of the work, and then they take their children away to school. Then the children, in the meantime, they try by all means to be successful in the future, and then they take care of the what of their family.
But I'm looking at the worsening economic situation that perhaps is exacerbating this problem.
Very true.
Mm. I mean, do you think then we can really cope in terms of trying to address this issue?
Is what is worsening. We need to hope and plan for the future for the children. If we say let's stop and focus on the economic situation will improve, we'll be shortchanging our children. We really need to focus this now. We need to nip this in the bud, take the children back to school so that they have a brighter future.
Curious about what has been done or what people are doing. If really people are thinking about these children, street children, when even it comes to child labor, people are using them to do different things. I mean, are there any programs that specifically target street children?
Yes, but with street children. But we do get children living in the streets coming to our offices asking for assistance. We assist them. But then you find a situation where they run away from home because of different reasons, and they prefer staying on the street, which is really, really bad. But we need to take them backward to the community so that they live in a family setup.
But these are, when you look at them, they are very vulnerable people, vulnerable to sexual abuses. Yeah. How hard or easy is it for them to really access help?
Well, we have campaigns in the streets of Bulawayo or other cities around the country where we tell them about reproductive health, we'll tell them about their rights and their responsibilities as well. So the issue is we impact as much of the knowledge as possible to them so that they protect themselves against whatever abuses they are out there in the streets, and they are very prone to abuse.
Any cases where really something has been done, where they've approached you and we've had prosecutions?
Well, sometimes prosecutions are done in the courts. We do our part. We do the counseling. We call our legal stakeholders to come and assist us in representing the child in court. Then we call the Department of Social Welfare to come in and assist. Yes, the progress will be slow, but something is definitely being done.
I'm also particularly curious about how you handle cases, like when you receive a call. I see your number is 116. You call 116 for help whenever you have a problem of abuse. When a call comes through, say there's a kid, a neighbor, I'm reporting a neighbor who's perhaps abusing my kids. What's the first thing that you do?
We ascertain the type of abuse that the children are going through. But you find out that you want to remain anonymous as the caller. I'm reporting on behalf of who and who. So, Childline, can you please assist? Then we need as much information as possible to follow up on the case with our friends, again, the partners, the Department of Child Services, so that we've got a case. One of our counselors will take down the case, record it, write it up, then it's ready for what? For follow-up. Then we go to on the ground to make a follow-up on the case, to ascertain the what? The type of abuse which is there and whether it's a threat. We interview the children, find out from them what really is going on, then we take necessary steps to assist them.
And when you're talking about steps, how far do you go in terms of reintegrating, the child back to the family when you've really dealt with the case?
Well, it depends with the abuse. I will go a step further and say if one of the family members is the one who's abusing the child, then by all means the police are supposed to step in, because by all means we try by all means to, the child is supposed to remain in a family setup. It's better to remove the perpetrator and the child stays in the family setup.
All right. And then moving on to child welfare issues, I see that as an organization.
Child welfare issues, we're mainly talking about issues that don't really infringe much in their rights. That's school fees, birth registration, academic problems. They call us needing assistance with their academic problems. We offer guidance and counseling. Those are many. These days we've got a lot of cases to do with financial aid. With the economic situation in the country, kids are calling us, asking for food, asking to be assisted with their books. They don't have much, so those are the welfare cases that we really talk about.
And how far do you go?
Well, we go as far as referring them to partner organizations who can really offer the hands-on support, who can give them the food that they want, who can give them the books that they need.
And I'm seeing that one of the issues that you deal with in child welfare cases is that at times the parents are in conflict, and that has implications on the welfare of the kids. They could be neglected. What do you do in such a situation?
Well, that we call upon the family, sit down, have a dialogue with the family, interview, they tell us what their perspective upon the issue is. We talk to the kids as well. We come to a round table where issues are brought out, and then they try to be resolved. Yes. It's mainly on intervention, as in getting the kids to say out how they feel about issues, and the parents saying out their part. Then we come together and form one solution for everyone's betterment.
And do you do any follow-ups to see, after having resolved the case,
yes,
how far do you go in terms of follow-ups to see that this thing is not recurring? Yes,
we do follow-ups. We don't really call you and say we're coming to make a follow-up. We just knock on your door, we're coming to make a follow-up. We work with our stakeholders like the schools to find out whether there's any improvement in the child's life or what. And then we've got our community care workers working in the community who give us timely information on what's really happening in the homestead.
And then in raising children, there's always this issue of how do I discipline my child? And really at times people, when we look at the cases that we read in the newspapers, at times you see that a kid, at times they die. Yes. In that process. Where do we draw the line between abuse and disciplining your kid?
Abuse is where you inflict pain to the child, bodily harm, where the child has to seek medical attention. That's no longer discipline. That's now physical abuse on the part. You've actually abused the child. I would say to the parents out there, the best discipline is to take away the child's privileges. We know our kids these days are into technology. You can just take away their smartphone. But it's best you do this mainly before you're a parent. You know what to expect from your children. You set out the rules before they what? They break them. If you do ABCD, this will be done to you. You won't get your allowance for the week, or you won't get your smartphone for the week. You'll be offline for the next 2 weeks because of doing ABCD. So the parents need to sit down with their children and form the best solution towards what? In their whatever they would do wrong.
But I mean, parents would say, this is my kid. I do what I want.
True.
How problematic is that?
It is problematic, but then they face prosecution because of that. It might be their parents, but the Department of Child Services are the custodians of the children. They are the owners. Yes, it may be my child, but the Department of Child Services is the final say.
In your outreach programs, is it something that you really point out to tell them that there is a law that protects these kids against such things?
Parents know that there is a law that protects the children against the abuses. But to them, they think these civic organizations are they live holistically.
Okay. Yes. All right. And then there is the issue that really comes out much more often. And on the 1st of November, an article was published in the Newsday saying there is a concern over a spike in child abuse. As the perpetrators, about 60% of the cases.
Yes. I would say back then we used to know that perpetrators of abuse were strangers, Okubuzela and stuff. That's the thing of the past. Right now, the perpetrator is someone that's known to the child. It can be a family friend, it can be a close relative, the parents, the brothers, the sisters. So when parents are leaving their kids with someone, they need to note that their kids are actually prone to abuse from the relatives.
And I mean, it's much more complex now, looking at a situation where people have to go and work abroad.
Yes.
And kids are left with relatives, and even some are left with helpers. I mean, that would mean that really is not a surprise having such a huge number of cases where relatives are identified as perpetrators. But I mean, how then do you deal with such situations where the parents are away and whoever has been left with the kids now is the one that is abusing the kids?
I would say, first and foremost, we need to believe what our children tell us. We communicate with our children. And sometimes they come to you, they tell you, so and so has done this to me. And you quickly say, there's nothing like that. So and so is a relative will never do it. So next time if something happens again, your child won't come and tell you. So we need to have friendship with our children so they can tell us anything, and we need, as parents, as whoever, to believe what the children say to us. Yes.
But I mean, there's the issue of the community. Like people live in communities. I mean, they are the first people to see such things when they happen. In your programs, how do you stress the issue of the community being on the lookout?
Well, you'd be surprised that the community, they do call us. Say, Childline, I've seen ABCD happening in that house. Can you please investigate? Something might not be right there. Please investigate. We really praise the community for taking that intervention and taking a step closer to contacting us on behalf of what of the children. They are really doing a good job, the community, and we say thumbs up to them. All right.
And you may then share with us the numbers that people can get in contact with.
Well, for calls, they can call us on 116. It's a free phone. No one is charged for that. So you can just take your cell phone, Equanet, Telecel, and net one is just at 116. You come to Childline and you get professional counselors on the line to assist you. We've got a 116 app on the Play Store, Google Play Store. You can download it And you can get as much information there as possible. We're able to chat with us through the app, and you're able to directly contact us through what? Through the application as well. Furthermore, we've got offices around the country. I'll talk for Bulawayo. They've got a Luweve office, a Makokoba office, a town office, UPH, and the Tripod. Our WhatsApp numbers are 0713 116 116 and 0719 116 116.
You may repeat those WhatsApp numbers again.
0713 116 116 and 0719 116 116.
Perhaps in the other places in Matabeleland, like Mat North?
Mat North, we've got an office in Cholocho. In Mat South, we've got an office in Beitbridge. We're looking to expand more into these provinces as well. We've got an office in Guyero as well. So we're trying by all means to be accessible in each and every part of the province around Zimbabwe.
All right. Mandla Zikali.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much for inviting.
Well, that's it for today. That's the end of the program. We had Mandla Zikali from Childline Zimbabwe, and we're talking children's rights. My name is Clayton Moyo, and the program is Know Your Rights. Until next week, it's a goodbye.